There was a time in cable news not that long ago when we would spend every night debating tax rates or abortion or gun control, and no matter how you feel about those issues, there were two sides, and you could sort of understand what the other side was saying. That's not where we are now. We are now in the final self-parodic stage of American neoliberalism, where nothing makes sense, all is darkness, and the policies are just designed to hurt people. Another sign of this, Palm Springs, California says it will pay you to be something called non-binary. Jason Rantz is a radio show host up in Seattle. He has that story for us tonight. Hey, Jason.
Hey, Tucker, the country's wokest guaranteed income scheme is coming from Palm Springs, run by Lisa Middleton. This is the state's first transgender mayor. The plan is effectively meant to help prevent homelessness by giving 20 residents somewhere between $600 and $900 a month for nearly 2 years. And they can spend the money however it is they want. There's no strings attached. The only rule at this point is that the recipients have to be transgender, or pretend they're genderless, or have multiple genders based on one's mood. Gender doesn't actually mean anything anymore, and this is not something that really you can prove. So instead of primarily focusing on using this to end poverty, there's been this focus on paying for what's called gender-affirming healthcare, which includes elective surgeries and hormone treatment. Now, the city hopes to use some of a $35 million budget set up by California Democrats to fund various pilot programs around the state. But big picture, this is really a movement by a group called Mayors for Guaranteed Income. They think that redistribution of wealth actually solves poverty. It's backed by folks like Jack Dorsey, who tried to ruin the world with Twitter. Now he's set on another pretty dangerous idea. Here's one Palm Springs council member inadvertently pointing out that this is pretty much a huge scam.
The bureaucracies that we've set up to fund poverty programs and to staff them are probably much more expensive than giving people the money who need it.
Now, she goes on to point out that this is really just about getting the data necessary to prove that this whole scheme works. But much like the people it's supposed to help in Palm Springs, guaranteed income presents as a good idea. It's not actually a good one. And all the data seems to point out that it doesn't quite get us to the point of defeating poverty in a way that is efficient with the use of funding. It's just too expensive.
Well, and of course, it just reflects elite concerns. I mean, we had 100,000 people die of drug ODs last year. Like, why don't, if we're passing out money, how about their families? No, they're not fashionable. Got to be non-binary.
Yeah, not for treatment, of course.
Whatever that is.
Yeah.
Jason Rantz, great to see you tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Tucker.